Hello. Gonna go live soon with Amar. We're gonna go live with Amar. We're asking him, the CEO of ZenMade. He's gonna tell us how to do pricing changes. It's gonna go live in about a minute. I'm gonna. Mhm. Oh, there was a waiting room. Amar is here. He's been knocking at the door. Hey, Amar. And Amar is now muted. It's going to take a little bit of time to get.
Nope. There we go. Just by default, you know, to avoid starting off calls with like, you know, just like other conversations or like when you're just not completely prepared. Default settings always join with the camera off.
Definitely not prepared. I forgot my water. 1 second.
Actually, I'm going to do the same.
All right. I'm back, but Amar's gone.
Yeah. You reminded me, Andrew. I get my water as well. So, all right, for the 2.5 people that are listening right now, the very first thing that you get to learn from this call is hydrate. How's it going? You in the new place? You in the new the new villa, or have you not moved yet?
Not moved yet, but I can one up you on the water. Like, should hydrate.
Oh wow, okay.
Oh my god, whew, that was heavy. Work out more. You're working out. You're on push-up number 1,102.
Something like that. 950. 950. Yeah.
I was so close.
You were pretty close, actually. Yeah. Now we're actually staying pretty active in quarantine this time. That we paid a little bit extra and got a little like exercise bike, and we've got like resistance bands and yeah, doing a couple hundred push-ups like a day. So today's day 4 of quarantine.
Did you get the exercise bike installed before like you moved in?
No, it was something. It was like a package that they like had. They one of the reasons that we picked this place was because they were, you know, they had like a public thing that you could get like fitness equipment if you like quarantined here. And so we showed up and like I thought that a bike actually came with the room because that's like how the photos made it look. And then, you know, there was some, you know, you got to read the terms and conditions. You know, it says exercise bike not included. And so I contacted them, and then they brought us one for like a little like extra cost. So, you know.
It's nice that you finally got it.
Yeah.
Speaking of cost, the main question that I have for you is how to manage a pricing change. Because I think for ZenMaid, you've gone through lots of pricing changes.
Yeah. Let's see. Do you know? Is anyone watching this? Do we have anyone on here right now?
Did you get any Twitter questions yet? I have one watching. Does that mean myself?
Maybe. I don't know. Yeah, I don't know. Okay, well, just for like the tiniest bit of like of context here for anyone that sees this or watches like the replay after. So I put up like my calendar link on Twitter just because I'm trapped in a room for the next 10 days. And so, yeah, so just jumping on calls like this, if anyone wants to join me, check out my Twitter. You can just jump on like my Calendly link or whatever. And if you get the chance to talk to Andrew, he's awesome. So yeah, in case anyone's wondering, that's why we're just jumping into like a question. Yeah, so managing pricing changes. Yeah, you should be changing your prices quite often. Most people just pick an arbitrary price point that's just based on how they feel, which completely makes sense in the beginning when you don't have a lot of information. But I would credit, I mean, I think at the start of 2019, we started the year, I think, around $65,000 in monthly recurring revenue. And I went back and double checked the pricing change that we made in January 2019. So we had about 11 months on the new pricing, and we grandfathered in everyone from before that. If we hadn't made that pricing change, we would have ended up, I think it was at $48,000 in MRR at the end of at the end of 2019, right? So over an 11-month period, the difference in pricing, for our MRR was 48K to 65K or whatever. So yeah, I actually don't think that we've changed our prices anywhere near as much as we probably should have, but it's kind of a scary thing to do. And that's why people probably don't change their prices enough. What are you kind of concerned with, or what are your holdups, I guess, on it?
So, well, there's a couple issues, I guess. The two main issues are that now Better Sheets is at a point where it is so much more mature, so more mature than it was 6 months ago, 9 months ago, especially when I launched it. But the current price that 100% of people buying it now are buying it through AppSumo at $19 for a lifetime. So I never charge them again. And the point is, the original point 6 months ago was, I want to make this so insanely valuable for the price. And so $19 was perfect.
Yeah.
And then it's just at a more mature point now. And when you walk in, it's funny. It's like this. I'm getting the same customer support questions now that I was 6 months ago, for slightly different reasons. 6 months ago, they were like, "Hey, there's too many videos. Where it's unorganized. Where should I start?" And then I put together a bunch of stuff to be like, "Hey, push you here, put you here." And now I'm getting that same question of like, "Hey, there's so much stuff. Where do I now go?" And I'm also now adding lots of code. So originally the course it's like a non-linear course. It originally was, here's just videos telling you how to do this stuff. And I realized, 3 months in, 6 months in, that I'm actually making real things, and I should distribute these things as a separate entity. And then I did that a couple times, and I was like, wow, that's really unfair to someone who was early on. And I was like, so I need to charge them again. And I'm like, no, I don't want to do that. So now I'm putting all of those things that I'm making, every new user is getting those for free.
Okay.
And so I will eventually, once I get off of AppSumo, change to $19 per month with a much, much higher lifetime, like $99 or even more.
Yeah.
But I want to do a little stair step and just see what the pricing change will do, and see if, actually get rid of my own lifetime deal. So I have, you can buy it for $99 lifetime deal, but AppSumo is $19.
Gotcha. So you're still thinking about using AppSumo as the primary lead generator here?
Yeah, they've been a great partner. I have some great blog posts. I have a great templates have been free templates have been downloaded 15,000 times. They're continually hitting me up for doing more stuff, getting on more things. They're a great partner. I want to stay with them.
Okay, sounds good. So I can tell you, like, almost without any doubt, that a pricing change is not going to have a huge impact on like the number of like of sales that you have. I guess going from like $19 to $19 a month, that's a pretty significant like change. But if you were to go from, let's say, $19 a month, or not, sorry, from $19 lifetime, and you were to bump it to like $49 lifetime, you're not going to see any change in like the conversion rate, right? That someone that's looking at this, that finds it valuable and says that it's worth $19 a month, they're gonna find it worth $49 a month, particularly based on just what you've said, right? Like in terms of perceived value, it might be different if it was like an ebook. People have much higher expectations from like a $49 ebook versus like a $19 one. But based on all the work that you're doing, like, I mean, I think that you could just change the number, right? Of just change it from 1.9 to 4.9, and you probably wouldn't see any drop off at all. One thing that I think that a lot of people I think sort of, they're always looking at it from their perspective of, oh, I've more than doubled the price, so I have to deliver more than double the value. Otherwise, people aren't going to think that it's like that it's worth it, because it used to sell for $19 and now it's going to sell for $49 or whatever. And the truth is that just most people, A, don't care, but B, will have no idea what the price was before. And that's why oftentimes doubling the price will increase your profits or increase your sales, you know, by 80%. You know, that some people it'll price them out, but most people just like aren't going to care. So I don't think that you have like that big of a concern there in terms of just like bumping the price. How many users do you have? I don't like, well, yeah, I guess how many users do you have, and how much?
1,600.
1,600. Okay.
But I mean, nobody's paying per month. I mean, 100% are on lifetime.
On lifetime, yeah. Like the best thing that I've seen people do, which might be the best of both worlds and might be something worth considering for you, is how Hey Summit did it. So Hey Summit is the tool that I use to run the virtual conference for ZenMaid every year. And they ran an awesome AppSumo deal that I bought, and I'd been using them before that. And it was like, you know, $99 or something, and you got, I mean, I think it was, you got their $99 a month plan for life if you paid $99 one time. And then they also have a $250 plan. And so what they did was they made it so that for $99, you got their like second tier out of 3, you got their second tier plan. And then after you signed up for that, you got an email after the AppSumo promotion was done going, hey, you know, we saw that you signed up for this. If you're interested in getting access to our highest level plan that retails at $250 a month, click here, and with one click, we'll upgrade you for only $10 a month, right? So it's still like an amazing, amazing deal, but they kept 100% of like that $10, and they were able to plug into AppSumo. AppSumo made an amazing offer and totally won in that transaction, but so did Hey Summit, because they probably got, I would guess, over 1,000 people that started paying them $10 like a month. So you might want to think about how you can do that in the future. Is like the other option that you have here, which is not even just straight up increasing your prices, is to begin to differentiate between offerings. So one thing you could do is you could scale back on some of the work that you've done recently, that you've done in the past 6 months, and go back to selling what you were offering 6 months ago for $19 for life. And then after that, you hit them with an email and you go, hey, here's what we've done in the past 6 to 12 months, like development wise, for only $5 a month, you can like upgrade. And that might give you the best of both worlds, that, you know, it doesn't have to be all inclusive. So that's a consideration that might help you out.
Yeah, I'm so confused, just personally, and like in my own personal life around this business, is like how to differentiate between different levels. And I've been trying to think of something, and the only thing I can think of is, right, like sort of separating topics and saying, you know, for everyone who paid lifetime before, you have access to everything. But moving forward, there's like, you know, a set of 100 videos that is one price, and then more than that, like say $99 for access to everything else, or $19 for everything else. And moving forward, sort of, I can say, here's 100 beginner videos. If you go through all of these, and you want more, here's more, and you can get it for $19 a month.
Yeah. And that might be a good way of differentiating it by level. So you have all the beginner ones are available for $19, like for life or whatever. And then once they hit a certain point where they're really bought in, if they want the more advanced stuff, then it's $19 a month. And they, you know, and like they, let's say, get access to you in a Slack channel or something like along those lines. You did mention though that you've been adding more like code into it. Is that what you said?
Yeah, like, so the thing that I just released this last week was called Only Sheets. And it's literally a script that when you sell something on Gumroad, it automatically gives that email address access to the Google Sheet that you're selling. So you can sell a Google Sheet on Gumroad. You can do that now, but in order to sell a Google Sheet on Gumroad, you have to set it to share with the whole internet, because you don't know who's going to buy it. And you don't want to be physically going and clicking, hey, add user, add viewer, add viewer. So this script does that for you.
Oh wow, I might need that for ZenMaid actually. We have two resources that we just have like open links, and if someone buys it and just shares it with their friends, then like there's nothing we can really do about it. That's funny.
Yeah, okay. So and it's scratching my own itch. I was like, I've been trying to sell Google Sheets, and literally every single Google Sheet that I share with students or customers of Better Sheets is available to the whole internet, because I don't know who it is going to see it. So I'm like, oh, I need to fix this.
Yeah. Okay. Interesting. And so Only Sheets is available for people that buy Better Sheets as well, right?
Yeah. And I had a huge pricing problem there, because I was like, it's flat out code. It's like, I wrote this code.
Yeah.
And selling code is so much different than selling like an info product, as far as I can tell. And it's the first time I ever sold code that I wrote. And I was just like, how do you price code? And then I realized, oh my God, this is like pricing a SaaS. And I was like, oh, this is exactly the problem everybody has with pricing SaaS. But the actual biggest problem was that the fact that I had $19 lifetime deal for Better Sheets. So I was like, do I price it at $10 and sell it to people, like offer it to sell, or do I price it more and give a discount to everyone who bought Better Sheets? But I was like, you know what? Like, in my heart and in my mind, I remember I was like, I told everyone in Better Sheets, like, I will not charge you again. You buy a lifetime deal, you get everything I do.
Yeah. But like for this, I mean, I would very much consider this to be like a different product, right? Because to me, this is like, you know, for ZenMaid, that if someone bought a lifetime deal for ZenMaid, which is software, that then like we write a book on hiring and they expect to get that for free, which I would consider to be a different product. Same company, different product, right? So like one other thing that I can tell you is you're very much looking at this, or it sounds like how you're looking at Only Sheets. I love the video, by the way. The video is amazing. With Only Sheets, that you're thinking about it just as like a snippet of code, right? That you've like written, and then you're going to share like this piece of code, right? But there's a big difference in the actual value that's provided by Better Sheets, the info product, and Only Sheets, right? So if we started using it for ZenMaid, we would be getting a benefit out of Only Sheets every single month, that it was essentially taking care of a job that if we weren't paying for only sheets, that someone on our team would have to do, or we would just have to do it in like a one-time solution but worse solution way. So I would actually be looking at only sheets as like maybe $5 a month, but I would definitely be looking at it as a SaaS where it's priced ongoing, which is very different than like info products, right? Like info products are, you know, you can argue that, oh, you get benefits from them for life, but only if you do the work, which is a big reason that info products tend to be priced one time versus versus like SaaS products that essentially do the ongoing work for you. But yeah, I mean, I think you might have some limiting beliefs here in terms of, well, but not even limiting beliefs, because I mean, it definitely sounds like you're very much approaching this of like, you know, treat others like the way that you want to be treated, right? Which obviously makes perfect sense. But I think you might have taken that like a bit too far of going like, okay, now I've written code that actually does something ongoing, and that's part of Better Sheets, right? Splitting them up in your head, I think, will help a lot, and they can be related. One can lead to the other, but they're not the same thing.
Yeah. So all of what you're saying, I said to myself a week ago, and I like had this like very, I guess, Gemini, like talking to myself, the two sides of myself, and saying like the devil and the angel being like, no, don't give it away for free. Oh no, give it away for free. Like it's a thing. Ultimately, it's already free for Better Sheets members, and that's what then presented me with the next idea of like, wait, why did I have this struggle in the first place was because I want to continue building these sort of SaaS in a Google Sheet products without having to have this discussion every single time. Like I might actually be doing it once a month or once a week. I'm taking some old code that I wrote, or not old code, an old sheet that I wrote that's a marketplace in a Google Sheet, and I'm going to actually make a marketplace for Google Sheets in a Google Sheet. That's my next project. And so I was like, cool. I never want to have this struggle again.
Yeah.
So actually, how can I make Better Sheets more valuable to sell? And it was like, oh, then I should include everything that I'm building in it, and then continue upping the price as it matures. Plus, as you said, and I think we both agree, at some point have a $19 a month, have a recurring revenue model for someone who can't pay. Maybe the next step is $49 for lifetime deal, and then maybe in 2 months it increases to $99 lifetime deal. But you can still access everything for $19 a month. And maybe, and actually I was just thinking about this because I use MemberSpace. It offers me the ability to give access to members at a certain pace. So if somebody pays for $19 a month, and the first month they watch all the videos, and then the second month I can give them access to all the templates, and then the third month I can give them access to all of the product, all the code stuff. So, and that I was researching MemberSpace literally like a couple days ago, and that's what gave me the idea, because they said, oh, give members access at different times. And so really you're going to be paying, $60. If you're on the $19 a month, you're going to end up paying $60 to get to what everyone in the $99 lifetime will have available.
Like from the instant that they sign up or whatever. Yeah. I mean, I think one other thing that we haven't really touched on here is a lot of pricing has to do with clarity, particularly when you're bootstrapped, right? Is there big companies that get away with just having not transparent pricing? If anyone is watching this from Intercom, I hate you guys. Not gonna swear on this live stream, and just in case we got any children watching or whatever. But Intercom, you guys suck. I have no idea how much I'm going to pay every month. I just know that it's going to be more with zero transparency as to why. And some companies can get away with that, right? But as a general rule of thumb, particularly when you're trying to get people to make the buying decision, you just want to have clear, easy to understand pricing. That doesn't mean that it can't be complex, but it needs to be transparent. And so a big part of that, and that's more than just $19 or $19 a month, it's also what you're getting. And so one thing that I think that you're going to run into more and more is it not being clear what people are actually buying. Because when I saw, like in our Telegram chat or on Twitter, when I saw that you were working on Only Sheets, my natural assumption was that you were working on a different product. And of course, it was obviously related to Better Sheets. But to me, Better Sheets is an info product that I buy. I learned to use Google Sheets better. And Only Sheets was like an actual SaaS that would do some of the work like for me, right? So honestly, if it were me, like if I were in your shoes, I would essentially make it so that Better Sheets is info products like only, all the informational stuff that you have. And even going back to like 6 months ago, so for example, you said that you've got 1,600 buyers right now, right? How many did you have 6 months ago? How much has it grown in the past 6 months?
In just the last 6 months, I would say like 500 every 3 months.
Okay.
Like roughly, like it's been pretty linear. There's a couple of specific dates that I know had spikes, but those were like months apart.
Gotcha. Okay. So, but you haven't changed the price, right? It's been $19 since the start. Okay.
Yep.
So right there, you know that what you were offering 6 months ago was worth $19, right? So what I would do is I would roll that back and go, okay, the $19 a month plan, or the $19 lifetime is all the information that I made available approximately 6 months ago. Maybe you want to go 4 months ago if you add in some stuff that you think really like stacks on the value or whatever. And then I would look at essentially turning everything that you've done since then into like a $5 a month or a $10 a month, ongoing like subscription that gives them advanced content, gives them all of the code that you're writing and all of that stuff. And then if you want to bump that over time, I would be experimenting with that $10 a month, whether you start at $5 a month or $10 a month or $20 a month, but I would work on increasing that. And the main reason for that is because you found your lead generation channel, right? Which for most businesses is the most important thing. So now if you can find a way to, let's say, sign up, if you're getting 500 people from AppSumo every 3 months or whatever, if you can get 1 out of 5 of them to bump up to a $10 like a month plan, that's, I just lost track of all the numbers in my head. That's like, some amount of money that you're now making like per month, on autopilot. And in a lot of ways, you get to just continue doing what you do best, which is put out like great products, focus on the thing that you're really passionate about, and they bring you all of the business, right? Like that's an indie hacker's just like dream scenario, you know?
It's interesting. I mean, I just fundamentally, I do want to institute, not on anyone who bought it already, but like any new people, I do want to have a monthly option because as I raise the price, like I still want it to be accessible at this night. If you have $19, no matter almost in the Western world plus a bunch of other countries, $19 is not easy to come by, but it's attainable for someone who has a computer, is online, paying internet. I mean, even Netflix is, what is it in Thailand? $8 a month? Is it $6 a month in Indonesia?
Yeah, something like that.
So it's like, okay, take 3 months of Netflix and buy access to better sheets. Like now you can earn, and a bunch of stuff is about earning more money and like here, be more productive, get a raise in your job, sell your own products. So that's good. But I want to go. I want to sort of tell you a weird thing that happened, and maybe we're not out of it yet. So I launched Better Sheets in April, first week of April 2020.
Yeah.
In the midst of the pandemic, and I learned. I read about something that happens in uncertain times with pricing, and one is cash is king. Two, people stop spending money on things, so they'll be canceling subscriptions. There'll be anything that they don't need to spend money on, they'll not spend money on. But third is, to your point, what you just said, is they want to have clear pricing. And so at that moment, I knew lifetime deal was the absolute clearest pricing. Like, there's nothing clear.
Yeah.
Pay everything. I will charge you once. You never get charged again. Are we out of that? Like, I'm being realistic here. Like, are we out of this like uncertainty yet?
Well, I feel like, I don't know, maybe this is just kind of my like mental models of thinking and all of that, but I don't know that really matters. Like, just thinking about, does our opinion on that really like matter all that much? And this is also where I think it's with Jeff Bezos or whatever, if you read like Farnham Street or whatever, this is where I think a lot about like reversible and irreversible decisions is that changing your pricing is a completely reversible decision, right? That Zen made last month, because it's, February 1 in Asia. Last month, ZenMaid launched a free plan, and we spent 6 months working on that. It took a lot of time, a lot of thought, all of that stuff. And there were quite a few questions around of like, what happens if a bunch of paying users, what happens if 50% of our users just like stop paying for ZenMaid, right? And a lot of people go like, oh man, that would tank the business. I'm like, no, it wouldn't. I just turn off the free plan. Like, that's it, just no more free plans. Like, sorry guys, like, I messed up. I made the free plan too valuable. Now you don't get it anymore. Like, what's that? You don't like me anymore? Then go pay someone else money, because no one's offering a free plan, right? And so, for me, what I heard that I think does kind of directly speak to what you were just saying is that I think it was in August or September, I think they were saying that anyone that made over $25 an hour, from an economic perspective, and of course this is in the US, but from an economic perspective, the pandemic was effectively over. Anyone making less than $25 an hour, it was like 80% unemployment because of servers and all of those jobs that have to be done like on site that were not happening because of like the pandemic and stuff. And so to more like directly answer your question, I think your target audience, yes, I think that it is over in a lot of ways. But to go back to my original response, I don't think that really matters. I don't think that piece of information should really impact your pricing. Like if you charge $9 a month versus $99 for life or whatever it is, neither of those options are going to. None of the options that we've talked about right now are going to be successful or massive failures based on like how people are perceiving the pandemic.
It's interesting. So then, so it becomes a little less affordable, but as you sort of said in the very beginning, I'll tie something back, because like the difference between 1 and 4 at the beginning, 19 and 49, is like that's sort of all within a large spectrum. And it's like only if you're going to up it to like an order of magnitude is it really like a big psychological and cultural change.
Yeah, and particularly just because you're obviously seeing strong sales, like regardless, right? And I think that's like the big thing is I think that if you were just launching this and it was brand new and you didn't already have 1,600 people that have already paid for this, then the difference between $19 and $49 is going to be a pretty like significant difference. But clearly this is not only validated, but you've also continued working on it and putting in a lot of effort after validating it at $19. It's pretty clear that your value proposition here is strong enough that you can bump it that much. And yeah, maybe 20% less people buy, but you're charging 2.5 times like the price. And you can always have something, put in a little note there of like, hey, if you're in a third world country, like the US, and you're like, and you really, really like want to get this, but $49 is just outside of your budget, then just drop me a message directly and I'll like set you up, For any Americans watching, sorry for calling the US a third world country, but let's be honest here.
Or I could use parodybar.com by Danny Postma.
Parody bar. Oh, is that taken into account like different like pricing or whatever?
Yeah,
different locations for pricing.
Yeah, you can see the person's location and then offer them a discount. Parodybar.com. No,
okay.
Don't take any copycats. There's only one, parodybar.com.
I think I saw him tweeting about that like yesterday. That someone had a direct knockoff. Yeah.
The original, the OG parodybar.com. The parodybar.com.
Oh man.
Yeah, like I mean I have had that maybe less inconsistently and not really like on a landing page, but I have like when Black Lives Matter was heating up, I was like, if you're working on something for this, just I'll give you free access. And I helped. It was great. I helped a couple of Google Sheets like redo their look and like made them look really awesome.
Nice.
I still have before and after photos to put out. Like that's another weird thing that like I fear I have so much pent up value that I do want to spend time getting it out to existing members, but also to market Better Sheets itself is you had mentioned this before, so I'll bring it up again, is access to me. I had sort of an ask me anything policy. Like you're a member, just email me any question you have. And people continuously and consistently email me questions. I literally can't answer all of them because I just don't know. I try to answer some that are like way outside of my range of help or my knowledge. I try to answer them and point them in the right direction, but some I'm just like, I have no idea. I don't even know where to start. So sorry, there's like two questions here. One is, so I have like now I have like 145 videos that are available for all members.
Okay.
But there's another 140 that I've made for one-on-one. That's like I've just sent to that one person, and like everyone else is not going to have the context. So I've been thinking about trying to hire someone to go through those as an outside, and because if I go through them, I'll know all of the context and I'll know everything. But someone to go through those and recontextualize them, ask me the questions like, oh, what did you mean by this? What's this? And then write up a little bit of a blog post, be like, here's all the context you need to know to get access to the answer that's in this video. Because I name people by their names. I'm like, oh, you asked this question, Ken Anders, here's the answer to your question, which is fine. Members love it when they see answers from other members. But these particular, there's like 140 videos that are just like, you would be completely lost. You have to see the original email. So yeah, I would like a little bit of price increase so I can hire someone to go through those, a VA or someone to, and then, and have sort of no further, I guess the other question, I guess, is that a question or just a statement?
I mean, more of a statement, but I think it brings up like an interesting point that I think that a lot of a lot of makers should be thinking about when it comes to pricing of, there's a big reason that it seems kind of counterintuitive, but there's a big reason that things that are too cheap actually like hurt you, right? And they hurt you in terms of sales, right? So when I see Better Sheets is available for 19
Hi, Fran. Said not Fran.
Andrew says hi. He can see you in the reflection there.
If it's not Fran, you're not quarantining.
I've got a thermometer. I've got to take my temperature and upload it to the Thai authorities right now. Yeah, that it brings up a very interesting point, right? When I see deals on AppSumo, or when I see software that I think is pretty cool and I feel like they're charging too little, my concern is always that they're not going to be able to keep working on it, keep updating it, or providing support. And it's just a matter of time until something breaks and they go, it's not worth it. It's not worth it to fix it. And like, that's that, right? And so I just think that like brings up, just something to consider, that in a lot of ways, you're doing your users a favor by increasing the prices. And I think that's just something to consider. Not always. Sometimes people increase prices and they're just being greedy, right? Comcast, like there's lots of examples of companies that do that. But in your case, if charging a bit more is the difference between you being able to actually reinvest into the business and to hire someone for help and stuff, you're really doing a disservice to your audience and to even your current users by charging such a low amount. And so I just say that because if you reframe it that way, I feel like it makes kind of decisions around increasing your pricing a lot easier, to consider and stuff. And then you heard the thing that, there's nothing free, that, if you're using software for free, then you're the customer, right?
Yeah.
And so that's just another thing to consider there.
Yeah. And I guess the last thing I will bring up, and I wonder if you have experience in this. I think you do. So I think you actually liked a tweet that I made either this morning or yesterday, that it's like, I want to have Better Sheets have 3 elements, which is 1, education, 2, community, and 3, marketplace.
Yeah.
Meaning I want to empower someone to be able to go from, I understand Google Sheets, to now I really know Google Sheets, go from 1 to 2 basically in Google Sheets with Better Sheets. But while I bring you through that, meet other people who are as excited about using Google Sheets in sort of these creative ways, in their own way. And then the same way that I learned sort of 5 years ago was I just needed to figure out the outcome of this thing, and I had to Google a bunch of questions. But by having that North Star of I need to get this thing done, it was a lot easier than I just want to learn about Google. Most courses I think are master Google Sheets, and I'm you're never going to know all of it. And and that's good for them in the way they teach, that they're fine. I'm not a born teacher. I don't have the patience. I tried teaching English for 2 months and I quit because I got spit on by a kindergartner. This is pre-COVID.
It doesn't really make it any better. I'm not gonna lie. That's still just as bad.
Without COVID, you don't want to be spit on. But then I have this crazy idea where if someone goes through the courses and learns by doing, or even if they know, which a lot of users and a lot of customers will end up knowing more than I do, because or a different amount. We know the same 20%, but 80% is different.
Yeah.
And I'll get I told you, I get questions and I'm I don't even know where to start on this answer. But if I could put it to the community, and say, hey, somebody here would know more than
Yeah.
a Stack Overflow question or a there's one other Quora, Stack Overflow, Quora. Yeah, you know, like those widespread communities, this community will know more than they will. But be able, like, I would love to be able to sell their expertise too. Like, hire a Google Sheet expert. And so someone who's gone through the courses, gone through the videos, helped others, now could be listed on a marketplace. But you have listing of people on a marketplace, be like, hey, hire these, 20 people who can help you on X, Y, or Z. But 2, here's a bunch of templates for sale. Because I've only seen individuals sell Google Sheet templates, like in a package or a packet. Like sheetsformarketers.com is like a couple of dudes who sell great templates for marketers. But there's no marketplace. There's no place to be like, I just want to know, other than the Google App Store. Not App Store. That's not it. That's not the phrase. Google Marketplace. So I think like a marketplace that's a better Sheets place where it's like, hey, these people have all had access to the course. They have created these. You can see this is an expert who's made these templates. So like if you want to make a template like it, but get this guy to customize it for you. And that, I think, is an interesting way to then not just make more money, but like have a different business model. Then it's a transactionary business model. I can't charge a SaaS pricing for a marketplace, I don't think.
No, you definitely can. I mean, it's just different. You can charge like any sort of way that you want to. It's more about the presentation and like how you present the value and stack the value or whatever. That I forget who it was that I was reading from, but for me, what I focus on studying right now is like essentially marketing, monetization, and then not even like niches, but like sort of different like product ideas that all revolve around made services, right? And like that's where we can like win. Like freemium is just a creative way of pricing to generate more leads and like and whatever. But I mean hell, like you're part of Growth Mentors, right? We just both joined Growth Mentors like recently. I had the call with Hannah, by the way. That was very useful. But they have SaaS pricing that you pay quarterly or annual to be a part of that marketplace, right? And so they've figured out a way to do it, right? So like, whenever you can find something like that, it means that it is possible. It doesn't mean that it's easy, but it definitely is possible.
I get what yes, their business, yes. So I literally have never thought of this yet, because I thought like, just have a profile of a person and then like talk to that person about having them help you on a thing. But sometimes you're right. By bringing up Growth Mentors, you literally bring up the issue is like, sometimes you just want to be like, can I like, it's ungoogleable question. It's like, I need to ask you, I need to show you the sheet. I need to
context. So like, I need to give context for my question. Yeah.
And so for me, Looms have been perfect because it's asynchronous. Someone sends me a link, I watch it, I answer in a Loom. But if those questions that I can't answer, it's like, hey, let me put it out to the marketplace and hey, just book a call. Book a call with them, pay, $50 for access to, 20 people. Here's their free time. Like, maybe I should go to Foti and be like, hey, do you want to do sheetsmentors.com?
Yeah. I mean, I think it's a good idea for sure. Like, I like the idea. Two-sided marketplace and everything. It's a different business model, but it plays into the same audience. And I think that kind of diversifying that way so that you're taking advantage of that audience, I think is really big. The question there is always just with timing, right? It's about, you can only focus on one thing at a time. Or not one thing, you focus on a couple things at a time, but it's hard to do everything really, really well. So for ZenMade, we tried to do a lot of things in the beginning, And a lot of those things we ended up just making 100% free, because focusing on the actual monetization and marketing and all of that stuff just wasn't worth it. So like we have a light version of what you're talking about, which is more of like a product directory. So if you go to zenmade.com/courses, we just have a bunch of listings of like, oh, you're looking for help with marketing. Here's a list of every marketing course and marketing product that we've been made aware of, like in the industry. And like on maybe 3 to 5% of those products, we get affiliate fees, right? But you could do something like that where you list better sheets, where you list like sheets for marketers, right? And where you have like all of those products are kind of like listed, and that's like one way of doing it. So yeah, I mean, I think it's a good idea. I mean, same line of thinking. ZenMade is looking at how we can do two-sided marketplaces right now, but that's something that we've waited quite a while to do, because it helps to have the existing audience, right? Two-sided marketplaces are notoriously hard because it's a chicken and egg problem. And so for us, it's either, do we try to make like a maid service directory where potential clients can come and can book a maid, or we've been thinking more recently as a job board, where it's all of our maid services have a place where cleaners can come to and can and like the cleaners can apply to jobs and all of that stuff, right? And so both of those are two-sided like marketplaces that that if we had tried to launch 3 years ago, we just didn't have a big enough audience, right? That was essentially starting an entirely new business. So I think you want to get to the point where you have enough Google Sheets experts and enough people in your audience that if you launch a two-sided marketplace, that at least one side of the marketplace is like 100% like taken care of.
Yeah, either aggregate demand or aggregate
supply, exactly, right? And if you can get to the point, which I think you are well on the way to, if you can get to the point where you actually have a decent percentage of both, that you have a ton of people that are just interested in using Google Sheets better, and some of those people can't afford to spend the time to learn it and to do it themselves, right? Like for me, I just want to pay for solutions, right? Like, I'm going to pay for solutions one way or another. Like I'm either going to pay you for only Sheets, or I'm going to pay someone on my team to like go and learn it and to set it up, right? But there's no way in hell I'm doing it, right? Like I'm just beyond that point, right?
Yeah.
So, if you can find like enough people on both sides of the coin, then I think that's essentially when the timing is right for that sort of stuff.
Yeah, as far as I know, the existing way to find someone to write a Google script, if you know that Google script is the thing, like, oh, I work in Google Sheets and I need to like get this thing done, would be Fiverr. Like I've searched Google script on Fiverr a bunch of times. In fact, I was like gonna make a really silly YouTube video of like I don't know if you've seen these like YouTube videos where it's like I've paid, like a photographer will be like, I paid $5 and $100 to edit my photos. I was going to do that on Fiverr with Google Sheets. Like I paid $5 and $500 to get this Google Sheet made.
I did that a while ago, actually. It wasn't a comparison like that, but that's a good idea, right? Like that makes for great content, right? Because people are interested to see what the difference is and what you're paying for and stuff like that. But yeah, I did one that was pretty funny, like 4 years ago or something, maybe, just because maid service owners, they're not usually all that familiar with Fiverr, right? That in your audience, most people are probably going to have heard of like Fiverr and probably have used it at some point. And so I did one, which was like, I spent like $300 on like Fiverr gigs for one of the maid service owners, right? Like here's like what it like did. It's actually a really fun one to do. I think I may like republish that or something. I don't know if we ever really like promoted it, but yeah, I went through and had like an explainer video made and like did a bunch of other stuff. So
like retweets, like marketing and stuff.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, but all sorts of stuff, right? Like I had like 3 people do like a new logo for them, right? None of which we use, but it was cool to just be like, for $20, here's like 3 logos that we
Yeah.
got. 2 were $5, one was $10, and here's like the variety. There's one thing that I was trying to get maid service owners to do, I mean, and just entrepreneurs in general, is like it's a lot easier to kind of edit something or to see what you don't like about something once it's real than it is to come up with it perfectly from the beginning. So in a lot of cases, I actually go to Fiverr and just hire 5 people to do the exact same task. And then once I have an idea of like, okay, I like this one more than this one, I'm not sure why, then I take that and take it to a good designer and we'll pay like $200 or whatever and just be like, here's the logo that I like clean it up, make it look more professional. But this is like the concept that's the best. That's how we came up with the ZenMaid logo, to be honest.
Nice.
We probably hired 10 people on Fiverr to give us concept logos.
That's awesome.
Yeah. So, yeah, you've got some interesting things to think about. You've got like a lot of variables, like a lot of different ideas here and stuff. Like it's it's cool.
No, and I think from this I've gotten at least a considerably more energy towards pricing upgrades, that I won't feel bad about it. And I think that will inform me when I just sit down and write the email. And also, like, I'm thinking, like, it doesn't have to be so, at least in my exact place with Better Sheets, everyone's grandfathered in, so I don't have to send any message that be like, hey, sorry about this. Like, there's no sorry about this pricing change. It's like 100% it's future buyers. And probably my focus should probably just be on how do I just message all of this stuff exists, and maybe figure out if I have an explicit, like, somewhere it must be written, like, ask me any question, maybe take that down a little bit and be like, hey, you're more, like, make it a little more warm instead of like aggressively like, you have to ask me questions. It's like, oh, you're more than welcome to try, like, ask a question. Yeah. I might not be able to get to it, but like I can put it out to the community. Warm that up a little bit. And also, I think you actually convinced me, I don't know if you did this explicitly, but I think you convinced me to implement at the exact same time well, now I'm thinking you kept saying $9, but I wanted to do a $19 per month and then $49 lifetime.
Yeah.
So that's what, 2.5 months. If I do $9 a month, then the lifetime is 5 times 5. I don't know if that really matters. I don't know if those numbers really matter, but I didn't want to. What I don't want to do is that somebody paid $19 yesterday, and that today I have an option that they only pay $9, even though it's per month. Like, I understand they're different. I don't want to lower the bottom. I don't know if that makes sense.
Yeah, I mean, I think it just depends on what you're trying to. So this is where, I mean, it's a good question to be asking, because I spent a bunch of time studying pricing in the past year, because we were going to be changing our pricing again, that we just added in freemium, and we're also going to be adding in a premium plan as well. So we're going to be going both directions, but we released like freemium first. And so the main thing is just thinking about which one do you actually want people to sign up for. If you bump the price to $49 and you make it $19 a month, almost everyone that decides to buy is going to go for the $49 a month plan, because it just doesn't make sense to pay $19 a month if you can get it for life for $49. And that doesn't mean that you shouldn't offer both options, because you may get sales on both sides, but it's more of a price anchoring exercise. So if you do $9 a month and $49 a month, or $49 lifetime, then it makes the decision a little bit more difficult. And so the question is just, do you want to do that and to lower, like, make it so someone can pay $9, use it for a month and then cancel? Or do you just want everyone to just pay you $49 a month, like, upfront? But in some ways, it's almost like, I don't want to say like a weapon because like, you know, it's not like war like with your customers or anything, but in a lot of ways, the pricing is kind of a weapon in terms of pointing people to like one direction or another, right? So like, you know, for us, it's $49 a month like base plan for ZenMaid. If we added on every feature that we could possibly do and we make it 49 versus 249 for like our premium plan, it's going to make people really decide, do I really want to pay all of like 249 for all this stuff, or is their basic plan going to be good enough? At the same time, if we were to make it so that it's 49 for like half of our features and then it's like $69 for all of the features, then $69 a month becomes like the no-brainer. And so that's just one thing to like to consider there. Last thing, just on the very last point that you made, because I got to go in just a second. But
take a temperature.
The other thing is that just keep in mind that very few people are actually going to care that you change the price. You don't need to like put it out there and announce it. You can also just make the decision that if anyone contacts you and goes, hey, like, you know, I see that it's $9 a month now. I only need this for a month and I paid $19 yesterday. Then you go, okay, awesome. Like I just refunded you the $10 and like, that's it. No harm, no foul, right? Because for us, we thought that making that pricing change for ZenMaid was going to be such a huge, massive thing. We were so worried about grandfathered customers and like all this stuff. And we made that change like 2 years ago. It's like 25% of our customers or something that we even have to think about that with, right? Our like 75% of our customers, that's the only pricing they've ever known on like ZenMaid, right?
Yeah.
So it's a much smaller deal than I think that we think that it is right when we're first like doing it. And so yeah, like I don't think that you need to consider those guys as much. Just have some sort of worst case scenario or backup plan and just go, if they all ask me for this, then like it's going to cost me like X amount of like of money and like that's it. But I wouldn't be surprised if not a single person contacted you if you were to lower that like that bottom level.
That makes a lot of sense. Yeah. I was just checking the messages, and it was just that on YouTube somebody said that creating new category and outcome-focused tutorials and templates can be a premium. So they agreed with us. Yeah,
that's smart. I like the way of putting that, of outcome oriented. Yeah. That's a good way of putting it. Teaching them how to use Google Sheets is great. But if you can teach them how to get a very specific result, you can definitely charge for that, even if it's not like a huge amount. I like that wording. Who was that?
Prashant.
Okay, cool.
I'm going to butcher his last name. Pillay? No, that wasn't that butchering. It was good. I'll give that to him. He's not here to correct me.
Just a little pat on the back there, Andrew.
Thanks so much for your time. I hope others will take a time slot from you, for you.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, guys, if you're watching this, head over to my Twitter profile. It's just Amar, and jump on my Calendly link. I'll be putting that up again here soon. Oh, I don't know if I told you this, Andrew. I'm going on the Dynamite Circle podcast, the Tropical MBA. I'm going on that this week, which is like by far the biggest podcast that I've ever been on. I'm kind of nervous for it. So. Yeah.
What are you nervous about? I mean, what?
Well,
you've done this stuff for years.
Yeah, I wouldn't necessarily say it's like nervous, but like let's just say that I really want it to go well, and that's like, you know, let's just say it's something that I'm thinking about. Usually, I just show up and I'm just myself on these things. That's exactly what I plan to do here. But you know, I've had podcasts in the past that like I didn't feel like I showed up, you know, like all that well and stuff. So. Yeah, I don't know.
But you seem more excited than nervous.
Yeah, exactly. I am pretty excited about it. So it'll be good.
Awesome. Well, drop a link on Twitter and let me know.
Yeah, we'll do. I'll keep an eye on this when I'm sure it'll be live on YouTube, or not live on YouTube, but like people can watch the replay on YouTube within probably a couple of minutes here, right?
I think so. I don't know if this is gonna continue. I'll leave it on YouTube, but I might like unlist it, but give it as a link on Twitter. Like
Okay.
if people on Twitter are more interested in this than people trying to learn Google Sheets. I'm doing this on Better Sheets channel. It's like,
yeah, maybe. Yeah, it makes sense. Makes sense. Okay, cool. Awesome. Yeah, I'll talk to you soon then, man. I hope I get to see you in Thailand sometime soon.